Just a sec here, everybody. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and thank you to the team here at the Statewide Traffic Management Center for hosting us yet again. I'm joined by the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, our host today, Diane Gutierrez Scotchetti. Diane, thank you. To her right, the President of the Board of Public Utilities, Joe Fiordaliso. Thank you, Mr. President. And to my left, the Superintendent of the State Police, Colonel Pat Callahan. Thank you, Pat. Before I get to the incoming storm, I want to comment briefly on that horrendous chemical plant fire in Passaic. First and foremost, I give our thanks, profuse thanks, to every single firefighter who arrived on the scene to assist in battling the blaze and containing it. This fire could have been a lot worse had it not been contained as it has been. We know one firefighter was injured and more than a dozen others also required medical attention. And we are grateful that everyone appears to be in good condition. At its peak, by the way, this was an 11 alarm fire. And as of this morning in my exchange with Mayor Hector Laura, it was still, several hours ago, still a 4-alarm fire. Second, I want to give a shout out to the team from the State Department of Environmental Protection who, in partnership with their federal partners at the EPA, have been monitoring air quality to ensure that local residents are safe. So through DEP Commissioner Sean LaTourette, to all of them, I say thank you as well. We will continue to work alongside local officials, especially Passaic Mayor Hector Laura and Fire Chief Patrick Trenacost Sr., to provide whatever assistance is necessary going forward. I should also give a shout out. I mentioned Mayor Hector Laura, a terrific mayor, but we're also hosted, as we are in Woodbridge, by another terrific mayor, Mayor John McCormick is with us, Mayor. Great to be with you as always. Now let's get to the reason why we are here. For the past several days, we've been tracking the storm system that is going to begin impacting our state later today and throughout the overnight hours and into tomorrow. The National Weather Service has posted a winter weather advisory for Hunterdon, Mercer, Morris, Western Passaic, Somerset, Sussex, and Warren counties. Again, that's a winter weather advisory for Hunterdon, Mercer, Morris, Western Passaic, Somerset, Sussex, and Warren counties. Parts or all of our coastal counties are under a winter advisory, as is Middlesex County right here in the Raritan Bayfront, and a gale warning has also been posted along the entirety of the Jersey Shore. I'm sure Pat or Diane or Joe will get into this in more detail, but we're particularly concerned with the confluence of high tide, full moon, storm surge sort of 4 a.m. to 10 a.m., especially tomorrow morning. The Weather Service has also posted warning, not surprisingly given what I just said, for widespread coastal flooding with a chance for moderate flooding along the Raritan Bay. So the easiest way to break this one down is to look at the New Jersey Turnpike as our dividing line for the state. For those north and west of the Turnpike, especially in those counties I mentioned which are under the winter weather advisory, things are going to be wet, windy, and messy. There are really no other words. Across the region, we'll likely see accumulating snow transitioning to sleet and freezing rain, which ultimately, in turn, will transition to heavy rain. Minor flooding is going to be very possible in areas where drainage is an issue, including cities. Travel conditions are not going to be ideal at all. For those of you who are in the east and south of the Turnpike, you're going to see mostly rain. But the bigger concern is going to be for strong and potentially damaging winds with gusts of up to 50 miles per hour throughout the overnight and into tomorrow. I'll leave it again to Diane, Joe, and Pat to discuss the specific preparations, but to suffice it to say we're all getting ready for whatever the conditions will be whenever they change. Especially for those of you in the snow to rain area, please stay off the roads beginning this evening. So our road crews, whether they be from the DOT or partner agencies and authorities or your county or municipality, can get out unimpeded for plowing and or spreading. If you are out and see a road crew working, please let them have the road ahead of you. As Diane has mentioned many times before, our highway crews especially work in formation. So anything you can do to allow them to keep plowing forward together is not just appreciated, but it's necessary. In the southern part of the state and along the shore, our major concern is going to be with the wind, which could bring down trees and power lines. As always, if you do lose your power, call it in immediately to your utility. If you happen to see a downed power line, stay clear of it. Please, God, stay clear of it. And again, call it in. And please remain mindful that while our utilities will try to restore power as quickly as possible, utility crews may not be able to get up in a bucket safely to fix a line in the midst of strong gusts. I've exchanged conversations and or notes with the leadership of the three big electric service providers, and I would say the specific concern, as Joe will get into, is wind. And I think in ACE's case, at least, they're particularly focused on Cape May County. And just as with our last storm, the reality of the moment means that some road and utility crews are going to be facing this storm shorthanded because of COVID illnesses. It's fair to say, Diane and team, it's better than it was the last series of storms, so it's continually getting better, but it is still in our midst. But everybody's going to do everything they can with the people they have and work in partnership with others where they can. We do ask for your patience and understanding and, of course, your cooperation. As always, the Office of Emergency Management will continue to post regular updates at ready.nj.gov and on their social media channels. We'll also be keeping everyone updated on our official state channels, including at NJGov on Twitter. So everybody, please be safe and smart. With that, please help me welcome the Commissioner of the Department of Transportation, Diane Gutierrez Scotchetti. Diane?
Thank you. Good afternoon. As Governor said, we are planning for a winter storm. Anybody who's been watching the news over the last few days, I'm sure is familiar with, I believe this is Izzy. So we're on our 9th storm in probably the last 3 to 4 weeks, so we've been busy. The northwest part of the state is expected to see the most snow, perhaps even plowable snow, but certainly icy conditions. For the rest of the state, we expect the storm to start as a wintry mix, but it'll soon change over to rain beginning tonight. We expect icy conditions, and we expect it to be full rain by tomorrow morning. So for us, what that means is if you're, as the governor said, north and west of the Turnpike, you will have most likely see some snow and wintry mix. We ask you to drive with tremendous caution, but even if you are south and east of the Turnpike line, with all the water that is predicted to come down, we ask everybody to maintain posted speeds, to drive carefully, and keep appropriate distances. We expect the storm to clear by mid-morning, and temperatures should be much better than they are today. In preparation, brine was applied to our roadway where it was necessary based on the forecast that we received. We've also prepared for high winds in terms of making sure our tree cutting equipment is available to us, but we've also checked our generators at our pump stations to make sure that we can help assist with any flooding that occurs on the coast. We have plenty of material. Salt and calcium chloride is available to us, and we have worked closely with the New Jersey Turnpike Authority, South Jersey Transportation Authority, and New Jersey Transit in preparation. We've also worked with our partners at Pennsylvania. They will have truck restrictions in Pennsylvania. New Jersey will not. But you will see posted signs in New Jersey helping truckers understand where they are able to travel in Pennsylvania. So we just want to be clear, those are not restrictions in New Jersey. They will be restrictions in Pennsylvania. We will have about 2,000 folks just between state agency employees out working with more than 2,000 pieces of equipment available to them. We've touched base with all of our contractors. Should we need to call them in, they are ready and available to assist us and have appropriate staff levels. We have also pre-positioned our towers. So on I-78, particularly near Jugtown Mountain, I-280, 287, and Route 80, you will see us have towing assets available to quickly clear any accidents that may occur. As always, we ask if you don't have to be on the roads tonight, if you can stay home. We've been talking about the fact there's lots of good football on tonight. I'm sure there's plenty of other good TV on. Read a book. tonight would be a good night to stay put. I think tomorrow afternoon will be much, much better if you have to go out. The other thing I ask is that if you are out, please be patient, take your time. Many of our crews will be working, but so will many of our partners in law enforcement and first responders. We ask that you remember the move over law. If you see first responders on the shoulder, you are required to move over one lane. And if you cannot safely move over, you are required to slow down, because everyone should go home every night. And it's not just a request, it is the law. So we ask that you abide by that. For New Jersey Transit, they expect regular holiday schedule on its rail, bus, light rail, and access link systems, but they are closely monitoring the North Jersey coastline and the Northeast corridor, as they will be most impacted by the storm. Before starting your trip, please visit njtransit.com and select the Travel Alerts tab for your up-to-the-minute service. If you do not have access to a computer, you can call 973-275-5555 for that up-to-date information. We ask, if you are out, again, please use extreme caution when walking on exposed sidewalks, station platforms, or when boarding trains and buses. Please remember, face coverings are required on all mass transit. And as far as Amtrak is concerned, we know that they have some modifications to their schedule. If you go to amtrak.com, you'll be able to see those as well. And with that, Governor, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you. Thank you, Diane. As Diane mentioned, there's good football on tonight, unlike last night. Also, we're benefited by the fact that tomorrow is a holiday, obviously in honor of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Obviously, that allows us a break as it relates to the morning commute, where this storm is still going to be very much at high pitch. With that, please help me welcome the Superintendent of the State Police, Colonel Pat Callahan.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'll just be brief in what we've done from a statewide emergency management perspective. The last few days we've been on with National Weather Service, both Mount Holly and Upton. Was actually on twice with them today, early this morning, as well as at noon with all 21 county OEM coordinators, as well as our state emergency management partners, Board of Public Utilities, DOT, DEP. Our State Emergency Operations Center will be monitoring this, and will certainly be able to respond to any resource requests. To the governor's point, that coastal flood advisory is probably amongst our greatest concern. We will have high water vehicles ready from our urban search and rescue team in order to deploy. Our partner DEP, phenomenal. They were actually out this week doing beach assessments just to make sure that if this storm erodes our coast, that we're poised to work with FEMA and the Army Corps of Engineers, so we know what those beaches look like ahead of time, especially if we need to bring them in for assistance. To the governor's other point, at 4 to 10 a.m. is when we're looking at that, the high tide, full moon, the surge. There's some areas up in North Jersey and Manhattan Harbor, Hudson area, we're expecting 1 to 2 feet of inundation. So again, if you do not have to be out in it, we recommend that you stay home. Prior to going out, we always recommend that you check 511nj.org. That's 511nj.org. That has all the up-to-date travel conditions and any issues that we're dealing with from a statewide perspective. Ready.nj.gov. I actually went on that this morning just to see how up-to-date it is. We're keeping that and all of our social media platforms up-to-date. And I say it every time I'm here, but having an emergency kit in your car, it's all there, what you would need, from charger, full tank of gas, blanket, food, water, flashlight, the things that you could certainly need should you happen to be stuck out there for a little bit. So we ask, again, if you don't have to be out, stay home, watch the Steelers and the Chiefs later on, and stay safe. Thanks, Gov.
Thank you, Pat. I mentioned I was back and forth with the leadership of the three big public utilities, public electric utilities. Joe Fiordaliso and his team have been obviously on with them morning, noon, and night. With that, please help me welcome the President of the Board of Public Utilities, President Joe Fiordaliso. Joe?
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Governor. Is that my favorite mayor over there? Hello, Mayor. Good. Thank you very much. And I think one of the biggest problems we're going to have as far as this particular storm is concerned is the wind. As the forecast has evolved, it seems like the majority of the state, from what I saw, is going to eventually get rain. But the wind is going to be a problem. And as you know, if that wind exceeds 40 miles per hour, we can't expect, nor do we want, any utility worker to go up in a bucket truck. It's dangerous. We could put their lives at risk, and certainly we don't want to do that. So please be patient. As the governor mentioned, if your power does go out, call your utility. Make sure they are aware of it. Don't assume that they know it, because most likely they don't. So call them, let them know that. And the other thing, if there are power outages and lines are down, please stay away from those lines. You have to assume that those lines are hot, which means that they can literally kill you. And certainly we don't want anything like that to happen. So if you see a down wire, stay away from it. Call the utility, let them know about that down wire. And I'll just reiterate what my colleagues have said. Stay home, watch the Chiefs beat the Steelers, and we can all have a nice evening, and thank goodness tomorrow is a holiday, and we can get this all cleaned up, hopefully, by the end of the day. Stay safe, please. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Joe. I'm on the other side of that in terms of the Steelers, but we'll see how that turns out tonight. Good words of wisdom. Anybody have any questions here? Sir?
For no state of emergency.
No state of emergency.
Gotcha. Two quick follow-ups. So any other specifics on air quality with the warehouse fire and estimates on cleanup? Anything further on that?
Nothing further beyond what I said, but we can follow up. Where are you, Mike? You can follow up, and if we have anything on that, we'll come back to you.
Can I ask one more?
Sure.
Cases are dropping. I wanted to see if there's any, hopeful signs that the state.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because I was going to mention that up front. Hospitalizations are down again today. Cases are down. Positivity rate, Paramount, is down to low 20s. That was up at 40% not that many days ago. RT, rate of transmission, continues to drift. So those are all very, very good signs. Still not out of the woods, but very, very good signs. And we'll follow up with you on the Passaic fire aftermath. And this is, I'll leave everybody with the thought triggered by your question about state of emergency. So no state of emergency. Obviously, we have to reserve the right, if we think we need it, to put one in place, but we do not believe that we need it. This storm, and my colleagues can correct me if they see this differently, will not go in the record books for accumulation of snow. God willing, it won't go in the record books for other reasons. But it is a pretty lethal mix of a lot of stuff, depending on where you are, that'll look like snow, freezing rain, sleet, heavy rains, potentially high tides, high winds up and down the state. In the north and northwest, you'll get some accumulation. There's no question about it. But that mix all coming together over a fairly intense, 6 o'clock tonight till 10 o'clock tomorrow morning is a pretty compact number of hours for all this thing to pass through. So that combination, risk of power outage, risk of coastal flooding, maybe even some inland flooding, the combination of all that is why we're here today. Not that any one piece of it looks like it's going to be one for the record books, but the combination adds up to a real messy sort of 14 to 16 hours. With that, stay safe, everybody. Ready.nj.gov is the best place to go. Thank you all. See you, Mike. Stay safe. Thank you, sir.